I stood in the kitchen at 2 a.m., frosting a birthday cake after finishing a 14-hour shift. My back ached, my hands shook, but I still smiled. "Happy birthday, Em," I whispered to the empty room. "My name is Daniel Carter. I'm 31 years old, and for the last 5 years I believed love meant giving until nothing was left. I worked construction during the day and stocked shelves at night. Marcus, my best friend, used to shake his head at me. 'Man, you look dead,' he said one afternoon. 'I'm fine. You got dark circles under your eyes. Bills don't care about sleep.' He leaned closer. 'Or maybe Emily doesn't.' 'Watch it,' I said. He raised both hands. 'I'm just saying. You carry everything.' I laughed it off because I always did. Emily had dreams bigger than both of us. She wanted her own fashion brand. She talked about it like it was destiny. One day, she told me when we were dating, 'People will wear my name. And I'll be the first one buying it,' I said. She smiled then. Back then, her smile could make me forget hunger, so I gave her everything. I sold my car. 'Daniel, are you sure?' the buyer asked. 'Yeah,' I said. 'Need the cash.' I used my savings. Every dollar I had went into fabrics, rent for a tiny studio, marketing, and machines I didn't understand. I worked 2 jobs. I skipped meals so she could order samples. When she noticed me drinking water for dinner once, she frowned. 'You're not eating?' I ate it. That was a lie. She kissed my cheek. 'You're sweet.' Those 2 words fed me more than food, I believed. Marriage meant sacrifice. If she won, we won. If she rose, I rose with her. At first, she thanked me for everything. 'You're my rock,' she said. 'You're my future,' I replied. But success changed the sound of our home. Her orders increased. Her followers grew. Her phone never stopped buzzing. Then she changed too. 'Can you pick up dinner?' I asked one night. 'I'm busy.' 'You said you'd be home. Plans changed. You could texted.' She rolled her eyes. 'Why are you always complaining?' 'Complaining?' I stared at her, shocked. 'I just asked.' She grabbed her laptop. 'I don't have time for this.' That became her favorite sentence. 'I don't have time for this. No thank you. No, how was work?' No sitting beside me on the couch. She started taking calls in other rooms. She locked her phone. She wore perfume to late meetings. Marcus noticed before I did. 'She's slipping away,' he said. 'She's stressed. She's hiding something.' 'She's building a business,' I snapped. He sighed. 'You defend pain like it loves you back.' I hated that sentence because part of me feared it was true. Still, I ignored every warning. Because I loved her, because I remembered the girl who once held my face and said, 'We're a team.' Because I thought hard seasons ended. That night, I placed candles on the cake and looked around our dark kitchen. The apartment was silent. Emily's phone buzzed on the counter. I wasn't trying to snoop. I only glanced because the screen lit up beside me. One message from Victor. My chest tightened as I read it. 'Can't wait until he signs everything tomorrow. Then we're free.' I waited for Emily at the table until sunrise. When she walked in, she looked fresh, calm, untouched. 'Where were you?' I asked. 'At work. At 3 in the morning.' She set down her bag. 'Deadlines exist, Daniel.' I held up her phone. 'Who is Victor?' She barely blinked. 'An investor. He said we'd be free after I signed something.' She laughed once. 'You read one text and built a movie, then explain it. He wants the company structure cleaned up. Taxes, shares, legal wording, that's all. Why hide it? Because you overreact like this.' My stomach twisted. 'Are you lying to me?' She stepped closer and touched my cheek. 'No. I'm trying to build our future.' I wanted to believe her, so I did. Love makes fools feel wise every day. The next afternoon, she placed a folder in front of me. 'Need your signature.' 'What is it?' 'Tax adjustments.' 'That's it?' 'Yes. We save money if we move things around.' I opened the first page, dense words, long paragraphs, charts. My head still hurt from no sleep. 'Should he read it?' She sighed. 'Daniel, I have a meeting in 20 minutes. I'm just asking. You trust me, or you don't.' I looked at her face, the same face I once loved without fear. 'Of course I trust you.' Then sign. I signed page after page. 'There,' she said, smiling. 'See? Easy.' I kissed her forehead. 'Sorry about last night.' 'You're stressed,' she said. 'Get some rest.' Later that evening, Marcus stopped by. He saw copies on the counter. 'What's this?' 'Tax stuff.' He flipped the page fast, then faster. 'Daniel, did you sign these?' His voice rose. 'Every page?' 'Yes.' 'Why?' He slapped the papers down. 'Because these aren't taxes.' Cold spread through me. 'What do you mean? This transfers ownership.' 'Of what?' 'Her company. Your shares, control rights.' I grabbed the papers, the words blurred. No. Yes. She said. I know what she said. My hands shook. Maybe you're wrong, he pointed lower. Read this section. I read one line twice, then 3 times. My name removed as managing partner. I couldn't breathe. Marcus turned another page. And this one gives leverage against the house. The house? She can claim partial transfer value. That's our home, not fully anymore. I sat down hard. I signed it, I whispered. You trusted her, he said. I signed it. I felt stupid, ashamed, sick. My skin went cold inside right then there. Marcus crouched in front of me. Listen to me. This is on her. No. Hours later, the door opened. Emily walked in carrying coffee, smiling like the world was bright. Hey, she said. Why do you both look miserable? I stood slowly. What did you make me sign? She glanced at Marcus, then at me. Oh, she said. So now you know, answer me. She set the coffee down with perfect care. You were useful, Daniel, she said. But useful things get replaced. I woke to a knock and legal papers shoved into my hands. Sign receipt, the courier said. What is this? Divorce filing. My throat closed. He shrugged. I just deliver. I called Emily at once. You filed already? Yes. After everything. Don't make this dramatic. You stole from me. I outgrew you. The line went dead. By noon, Victor posted photos beside her at a press event. Cameras flashed. She wore white. He wore confidence. Proud to announce our new partnership, he said on video. Emily smiled. This is only the beginning. Comments flooded in. She built herself, strong woman, dropped the dead weight. I stared until Marcus grabbed my phone. Stop reading. They believe it. They believe what sells. Then messages came from people I knew. Bro, what happened? Did you really refuse to support her? Heard you lived off her. I typed replies, then deleted them all. No one wanted truth. They wanted a villain. They wanted gossip, jokes, and easy blame. At dinner, my sister avoided my eyes. Mom whispered, People are talking. I know, my uncle snorted. A man should not depend on his wife. I never did. Then why does everyone say it? I looked at my plate and said nothing. The next morning, my debit card failed at a gas station. Try again, I told the cashier. Declined. I checked my banking app. Locked out, I called the bank. Your access was removed from the joint accounts, the agent said. Removed by who? August account holder. My hand shook. My wife did this? I can't discuss names. I laughed once, empty and sharp. When I got home, 2 suitcases waited by the door. Emily stood inside with crossed arms. You need to leave. This is my house. It's under dispute now. You can't do this. I already did. Victor leaned in the hallway behind her. Take the bags, he said. Don't be difficult. I lunged, but Marcus caught me from behind. Not worth jail, he hissed. Emily looked bored, like I was a delayed delivery. I grabbed the suitcases and walked out of the home I paid for. Everything I built was being used to erase me. My labor became her legend. My silence became guilt. My loyalty became weakness. That night I visited my mother. She held a tissue with trembling hands. Danny, she whispered, tell me the truth. I am. Tears rolled down her face. Did you really fail her? The room spun. All weak strangers had judged me. But this hurt more than all of them. I knelt beside her chair. No, Mom. I failed myself. I kissed her forehead and left before she saw me cry. Rain started as I reached the parking lot. I opened my car door, pushed the seat back, and lay there listening to water strike the roof. I had nowhere else to go. The windows fogged. My stomach growled. I hugged my coat and watched Dawn refuse to come for me there alone now. I lost my night job on a Thursday. My manager called me into the office and closed the door. Daniel, what's going on with you? Nothing. I'm fine. You stock cereal in the freezer. I was tired. You missed 2 shifts, snapped at a customer, and nearly fainted yesterday. I need this job, he sighed, I know. But I need reliable people. Please. I'm sorry. I walked out with my last check and no plan. 2 days later, I stepped outside the gym parking lot where I had been showering. My car was gone. I stared at the empty space. A tow truck receipt sat on the curb, repossessed. I laughed so hard it turned into coughing. House, I muttered. No job. No car. Nice work, Daniel. I slept that night on a park bench until rain pushed me under a bus shelter. By morning, Marcus found me. He stood there holding coffee in anger. You idiot. Good morning to you too. Why didn't you call me? I didn't want pity. He shoved the coffee into my hand. Get up, I'm fine here. You smell like wet cardboard. Get up. I followed him to his apartment and collapsed on the couch. Hours later, he dropped a folder on the table. What's this? Truth, I opened screenshots, photos, messages. Emily laughing beside Victor months ago. Victor texting friends. Watch me buy her husband's life for free. My jaw tightened. Marcus pointed at another message. Emily wrote, he'll sign anything if I smile. I couldn't speak. I tried to warn you, Marcus said quietly. I know. They planned it for months. I know. Victor mocked you at parties. My chest burned. Stop. He called you the sponsor with no brain. I covered my face. Marcus sat beside me. Cry if you need to. I don't cry. You should. Something broke open inside me. Years of hunger, shame, betrayal, and pride rushed out at once. I bent forwards and sobbed into my hands. Marcus said nothing. He just stayed there. When I could breathe again, he spoke. You can die here, or become the man they fear. I wiped my face. I don't know how. So I did. I started therapy. My counselor asked, why did you ignore every warning? Because loving her felt easier than facing myself. I began exercising with Marcus every morning. One more rep, he said. I hate you. Good. Lift. I studied business law at night through free online courses. I learned words that once scared me: fraud, coercion, equity, disclosure. I gathered old emails, receipts, contracts, bank statements. Every proof became a brick. Every workout became breath. Every honest thought became strength. Weeks passed. My body changed. My eyes looked awake again. One night I stood before Marcus' bathroom mirror. Bruised hands. Straighter shoulders. Harder stare. I leaned closer and whispered to the man looking back at me. They buried me. They forgot I know how to dig. 6 months later, I barely recognized myself. My shoulders were broader. My hands were steady. I slept through the night. I no longer checked Emily's social media like a wound I wanted to reopen. Marcus tossed me a towel at the gym. You look dangerous now. I look tired. You look alive. That mattered more. 3 days later, I walked into Grace Nolan's office carrying 2 boxes of evidence. She glanced at them, then at me. Most people bring one folder. Most people weren't robbed by their wife. The corner of her mouth moved. Sit down. For hours we reviewed emails, receipts, signatures, transfers, messages, and bank records. She spoke fast and clear. This disclosure date doesn't match. Meaning it may be forged. She opened another file. This income stream was hidden. Can that matter? It matters a lot. Then another page. You were pressured to sign under false explanation. I trusted my wife. That trust may help prove coercion. I let out a long breath. So I'm not crazy. No, she said. You were manipulated. No one had said it so plainly before. She leaned back and studied me. You're calmer than most clients. I used all my screaming already. And the anger? It's still there. Good, she said. Use it carefully. I looked at her desk. Clean lines. No clutter. Everything controlled. Will you take my case? I already have. I blinked. You have? The moment I saw the forged disclosure. I laughed for the first time in weeks. Grace didn't smile much, but when she did, it felt earned. Over the next month, we worked quietly. Do not announce anything, she told me. I want them surprised. Then listen. We filed legal claims in sealed motions. We sent records to tax authorities through anonymous channels. We contacted 2 investors with proof of hidden income and ownership fraud. One investor called me directly. Is this real? Yes. Why send this now? Because truth was late. Grace later looked at me over coffee. You enjoy dramatic lines too much. I'm healing. She shook her head, amused. Sometimes she noticed things I hid. You still flinch when your phone rings, she said once. I expect bad news. You won't always. How do you know? Because I can see you trying. Trust came back slowly, like feeling returning to a numb hand. I trusted Marcus with my collapse. Now I trusted Grace with my future. Weeks later, we watched a live interview in her office. Emily sat on a bright stage wearing designer white, smiling at cameras. My brand represents honesty and strength, she said. Grace handed me an envelope copy, delivered 10 seconds ago. Emily opened hers on camera. Her eyes moved across the page. The smile vanished first. Then the color left her face. I said nothing. Grace did. Round 1, she whispered. The collapse began quietly. Then all at once, Grace slid a newspaper across the table. Read the headline. I read it aloud. fashion startup under financial review. That's only page 1, she said. Fine business channels were running updates. Authorities are examining undeclared revenue streams. Marcus grinned at the television. Music to my ears. I didn't smile. I only watched. The next day another report dropped. Victor's hidden accounts had surfaced. A reporter said, funds appear linked to shell companies and private transfers. Marcus nearly choked laughing. The genius forgot paperwork exists. Then sponsors started leaving. One brand posted, "We value transparency and are ending our partnership immediately." Another followed. Then another. Employees leaked messages online, late salaries, promises, toxic leadership. By Friday, former staff were filming videos. She screamed at everyone. He made us falsify numbers. We were told to lie. Media that once worshipped Emily now hunted her. She built an image, Grace said. Now image is all she has left to lose. 3 days later, Emily called from an unknown number. Please meet me. No, Daniels, please. I almost hung up. Then I said 1 hour. Public cafe. She arrived wearing sunglasses and no confidence. When she sat down, I barely recognized her. You look tired, I said. I haven't slept. I waited. Tears came before words. I was pressured. By who? Victor. He controlled everything. You enjoyed plenty. That's not fair. I leaned back. Fair, she wiped her face. I never meant to hurt you this much. For 1 second, I remembered loving her. I remembered late-night noodles on our first apartment floor. I remembered her head on my shoulder. I remembered believing she was home. Then I remembered sleeping in the rain inside a fogged car with nowhere to go. The memory hardened me. She reached for my hand. Can we fix any of this? I moved my hand away. You didn't me, I said calmly. You revealed yourself. She stared like I had slapped her. I said sorry. Sorry is what people sift, or choice becomes consequence. Daniel, no, you chose greed. You chose lies. You chose him, she cried harder. I stood. Take care of yourself, Emily. Do you hate me? I paused. No. Hate would mean you still matter. I left her there with untouched coffee. That night Marcus burst into my apartment carrying takeout. Turn on the news, I did. Police lights flashed outside Victor's penthouse. The anchor spoke fast. Victor Hayes was arrested tonight on multiple fraud charges. Marcus raised both arms. Yes, Grace texted one line a second later, Simev well. I looked at the screen, then out the window. For the first time in years, I believed I would. Tonight, without fear, at last again, the judge adjusted his glasses and read the ruling without emotion. Mr. Carter is awarded financial settlement, recovery damages, and partial ownership rights tied to prior contributions. I exhaled slowly. Grace squeezed my arm once. Marcus whispered, say it. Not here, I said. Outside the courthouse, he yelled it anyway. We won! Reporters rushed forward. Daniel, how do you feel? Vindicated, one shouted for me. Betrayed but stronger. Another guessed. I looked at the cameras. Tired, I said. That quote spread everywhere. Articles called me the survivor husband. Podcasts praised resilience. Strangers messaged me. You inspired me. You got justice. King behavior. I read none of it twice. Emily lost nearly everything. Her company was broken into pieces and sold. Her accounts were frozen, then reduced. She vanished from public view. Victor remained in custody awaiting trial. Marcus celebrated every headline. Beautiful week, he said. Grace stayed practical. Sign these transfer papers. Anything else, she said. Try living now. I wanted to. I truly did. But victory felt empty. My family had spent a year whispering, doubting, choosing sides, and apologizing too late. Dinners felt careful. Laughter came shorter. Trust had cracks in every room. Then my mother got worse. The doctor met me outside her hospital room. She's weak. Can treatment help? We'll keep her comfortable. Comfortable. I hated gentle words that meant pain. I sat beside her bed. That evening, she looked smaller than memory. Danny, she whispered, I'm here. I think so. She smiled faintly. Good, it doesn't feel good. She lifted her hand. I took it with both of mine. I'm sorry, she said. For what? I doubted you. Mom, no, I listened to noise. You were scared. Tears gathered in her eyes. I wanted you happy, not even. The sentence broke inside me because I understood her meaning. She never wanted revenge for me. She wanted peace. I bowed my head over our hands. I know. You'll stop carrying this now? I'll try. Try harder. I laughed through tears. Yes, Mom. She slept for a while. I watched the monitor blink and thought about everything revenge had given me. Money, proof, public sympathy. None of it could buy back one dinner, one healthy year, one clean memory. Near midnight, she opened her eyes again. "You're still a good man," she said. "I'm trying to be, that's enough." I kissed her forehead. "Rest, Mom." That night, with my hand still around hers, her breathing softened, slowed, and quietly left the room. I stayed there until sunrise, unable to let go. Still, grief hit harder after the funeral. During the service, I stood straight, shook hands, thanked people, and spoke clearly. The next morning, I dropped a mug because my hands would not stop shaking. Grace picked up the pieces. "Sit down," she said. "I'm fine. You're falling." I said, "I'm fine." She met my eyes. "That lie already ruined one part of your life." I sat. For weeks I moved like a man underwater. Some mornings I forgot to eat. Some nights I drove to my mother's empty house and stared at the porch. Grace never pushed me. She brought groceries, she answered calls I ignored. She sat in silence when words were too expensive. One evening she found me on the floor beside old photo albums. "I can't seem to stand up today." I said, "Then don't," she replied. Sitting beside me, no speeches, no fixing, just presence that saved me more than advice. When the final ownership transfer came through, Grace placed papers on my table. "You can keep the shares. I don't want anything tied to that company. You can sell. Do it." The sale funded more money than I ever expected. Marcus whistled when I told him. "So, sports car, no beach house." "No, then what?" I looked around the neighborhood where men lined up daily for temp work and couples argued quietly over unpaid rent. A place to rebuild. 3 months later, we opened Carter House Workshop, not a shelter, not a charity, a restart. We offer job training, legal guidance, budgeting classes, and support groups for people crushed by betrayal or financial abuse. On opening day, Marcus hung the sign crooked. "It has character," he said. "It has gravity," as I said. Straightening it, the first group sat in folding chairs. I stood in front of them with dry mouth and shaking notes. "My name is Daniel," I began. "I know what shame feels like." Heads lifted. "I know what it means when people believe the lie before they hear your truth." A man in the back whispered, "Yeah, I also know pain can become a home if you stay there too long." Afterward, 3 men waited for me. One said, "I thought I was the only fool." Another said, "You made me call my lawyer." The third just hugged me and cried. For the first time in years, I felt useful in a real way. Later that night, Grace and I locked up together. She leaned against the door. "Who are you without your pain?" I thought about revenge. Grief, love, loss, and the strange peace after storms. "Someone's still learning," I said. She smiled and took my hand. I held on. Gladly there, I was closing the workshop when I heard a soft voice behind me. "Daniel," I turned slowly. Emily stood near the entrance. No makeup, no contenance, no cameras. Just a woman who looked like life had finally stopped applauding her. "You shouldn't be here," I said. "I know. Why are you here?" She swallowed. "I needed to see you." Marcus stepped closer to me. "Want me to ask her to leave?" I raised a hand. "It's fine." Emily looked at the workshop behind me. "You built this." "I did. With what I destroyed," she said quietly. I didn't answer. She stepped forward. "I'm sorry, that's not new. This one is real." I studied her face. Real doesn't always matter after damage. She nodded fast. "I know. I lost everything. You chose it. I was blind. I was greedy. I was scared of being small again." I leaned on the table. "So you made me smaller instead." Her eyes filled. "I never meant." "I know what you meant." I cut in. Silence stretched. She whispered, "Victor used me too. That's between you and your choices. I ruined us. There was no us when you signed my name away." Her voice cracked. "Do you hate me?" I shook my head. "That would mean you still have power over me." She stepped back like the words hit her physically. "I didn't come to fight," she said. "Then why come?" "Because I needed you to know I see it now." I looked at her for a long moment. "I forgive you," I said. Her breath caught. "You do?" I nodded once. "But not for your sake. What does that mean?" "I forgive you because I refuse to carry you anymore." Her eyes broke instantly. "So I'm nothing to you now?" "You were a chapter," I said. "Not my whole story." She covered her mouth, shaking. "I loved you," she whispered. "I know I didn't know how to hold it. I know that too." She wiped her face. "I'm sorry, I believe you," I said. But it doesn't rebuild anything. She nodded again and again like she was trying to memorize loss. I should go, she said. You should. She looked at me one last time. Are you happy? I paused. I'm becoming something honest, I said. That's not an answer. It's the only one I have. She turned toward the door slowly. Daniel? I looked up. I hope you stay that way. I didn't answer. She walked out alone, shoulders shaking, disappearing into the night without looking back again there finally. 1 year later, I stood outside the workshop and watched people line up with hope instead of fear. Marcus bumped my shoulder. You see this? We did this. I did nothing alone. Yeah, he said. Speech mode. Grace walked up holding coffee. You're early again. I couldn't sleep. You say that like it's new. I smiled slightly. It's getting better. She looked at the crowd. They trust you. I'm still not used to that. Get used to it, she said. That evening I drove alone to the cemetery. The sky was soft, almost forgiving. I stood in front of my mother's grave and sat down slowly. Hey, Mom, I said. Silence answered me. But I kept talking anyway. You were right about me needing to grow up. I traced the stone lightly. I thought winning meant making them suffer. I let out a slow breath. I was wrong. A pause. Winning meant surviving what was meant to destroy me. My voice stayed steady. It meant not becoming them. Wind moved through the trees behind me. I rebuilt things, I said. People come to me now for help. Can you believe that? I laughed once. I still hear your voice sometimes, telling me to eat, telling me to rest. My throat tightened. I wish you could see me now. I stood up slowly. I'm not perfect, I said, but I'm not broken anymore either. I stayed a little longer, just listening to the quiet. That night I returned home. Grace was waiting on the couch. She asked, Same answers, better ones. She moved closer. What did she say? Grace studied me. You're different when you come back from there. I feel lighter, I said. Good. We stood together in silence for a while. Then she asked softly, Do you ever think about before? Every day, I said. Does it still hurt? Yes, I admit. But it doesn't control me anymore. She took my hand. That's called healing, she said. I looked at her. I used to think winning meant them losing. She squeezed my hand. And now, I looked toward the window, toward the workshop lights in the distance. Now I know winning meant surviving what was meant to destroy me. I paused, and becoming someone I can finally respect. She smiled gently. Outside, the city kept moving, but I stayed still for a moment longer, finally understanding everything I had become. They took my home, my name, my trust, I said quietly. Grace looked at me, but they failed to take the man I became.